Madam the Vice President will see that later on, I'm sure. And so I would like to ask you, you've had all the speeches yesterday. You know the issues now. We had a 5 days training here actually in this room before it started. And many of these issues that we are dealing with now already came up in the discussion and in the training.
Right.
And they had the opportunity to discuss things very thoroughly with us. So now that you know, we have the Vice President in front of us, I think you know, you're now. I'm sure you're ready to ask him some questions.
Maybe I should say something before we ask the question, because you see, this idea of the training of the journalists to understand the issues in education is so critical. When I was Minister of Education, it was actually an area that I took great interest in, because I felt that, you know, education is reported in a way that doesn't do it justice. There was a time when education was so much, you know, it wasn't that it was taken for granted, but the assumption was everything was going well, thank you. So people in society didn't need to worry themselves. By the time things really got ugly with education, the level of crisis that had entered the education sector across the continent was not known, you know. So the journalists need, beyond the sensationalism of reporting, you know, maybe teachers do this or school does that, the real issues in education, the policies, the agenda setting, the outcomes, the issues of outcomes, its connection to the economy, and how it relates to the larger state policies in a multi-sectoral kind of way, requires proper training of the journalists so that they can ask the kind of questions that would enable the policy dialogue on education to be shaped by an overall citizenry access to education information in the form that the citizens can follow. You know, so I wanted to say basically that continuing to do this with the journalists is a really important thing, and that you know, the World Bank support for the initiative will be strong, because it's important for us that citizens be a part. The voice of citizens can be guaranteed by accurate information on sectors like education that the media can provide. If the media does not have accurate and knowledgeable basis for providing information to citizens, then, you know, it won't be a good dialogue. It would be a dialogue that is distorted by inaccuracies or by lack of understanding on the part of one side, and it won't even, you know, be an environment where the media is strengthened enough to really push hard and ask difficult questions of policymakers. Policymakers need to be conscious of the knowledge of the media, and therefore they can't just, you know, dump any kind of policy on the citizens without getting a demand for accountability for the policy from the media. So media training is important. So those of you that have this opportunity, I think it's one of the greatest things that you can have, because it means that you can be effective change agents. You know, the media is an important transformative agent for society. Thank you.
And actually, just to add to that, we saw that, in fact, we had a press conference in town 2 days ago, and we had 2 sets of journalists. We have this set that came for the training, another set from Tunisia who didn't do the training. And I would straight away detect the quality of the questions and interaction that came in. And certainly the training really had good results.
That's great. That's great.
Okay.